the moment we've all been waiting for. The winner of this year's Best Podcast of the Year goes to Lobby Up with Matt and Lewis.
Lobby up, baby! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about! Lobby up forever!
Oh man. Best podcast. Where to start on who to thank? How about me? Thank you to me.
I would like to thank God for this beautiful achievement, but I won't, because we're all here thanks to me.
Wait. Thanks to you.
Yeah, of course, all me, baby.
There's a reason that my name is first in the title.
Yeah, because we flipped a coin.
No, you said you like my name first.
Wait. Ladies and gentlemen, there has been a mistake. The award actually goes to the Joe Rogan Experience.
What?
You guys ready? Lobby up.
Hey guys, lobby up.
GG's, lobby up.
Dude, we gotta lobby up.
Lobby up.
Hey, should we lobby up?
Yo, lobby up.
Lobby up, y'all.
Hey, let's grab a beer. Lobby up.
Game of the Year. It's exceedingly anticipated by all gamers. This is the Oscars of gaming. We'll laugh, we'll cry when GTA 6 still doesn't get a release date, and we'll see lots of voice actors, content creators, studios, and most importantly, games getting the respect they deserve. Today, Lewis and I are going to share our predictions for most of the Game of the Year nominees, as well as what game we think is going to be the winner. We are recording this on November 10th, so we have no idea what the actual official nominees are. Right, bro?
None whatsoever. We are going in this fresh, so if we happen to hit some of these right on the money, that is just because we're amazing and awesome, and that's why you're here.
That's right. We have no life. We just do nothing but think about gaming. But before we get into all that, we wanted to discuss a few honorable mentions. We think these are likely not going to get the nomination for Game of the Year, but they might win in their subcategory. So without further ado, we're going to start with the best fighting game of the year. And Lewis, I know you have some strong feelings about that one.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, if there's any other fighting games that release other than Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 6 this year, they're not worth even knowing, because I have no idea what other fighting games that are of this magnitude are even in the zeitgeist of like potential fighting games of the year.
Yeah, not even close.
So I did get a chance to play some Street Fighter 6 earlier this year. The game is fantastic. It plays awesome. I mean, if you love Street Fighter, you're gonna love this game. And I really thought that Street Fighter 6 was like a return to form for the series. Not that the series was on its last breath or dying or anything crazy,
Sure.
but I feel like this is just the definitive Street Fighter game, more so than the fifth game, and it is a perfect game to play.
Now, I don't really know a whole lot about those games. Did we see like returning characters and stuff?
Yeah, so you saw a lot of the absolute classic characters. Ryu is back,
Nice.
Ken is back, Chun-Li is back. Like
I only know about them from Smash.
the main fair enough, that's fair. And granted, if we're talking about the greatest fighting game ever made, it is Super Smash Brothers,
Which didn't come out this year, though.
it didn't come out this year, but I would vote them for game of the year if I could. But anyways, so you got these the returning fighters. Everybody plays exactly how. Here's the thing with fighting games, before I just waste my breath. The thing about fighting games is most of the characters that come back play like they always have.
Sure.
But you get the new gen updates. You get the controllers just being better online. This one went far and beyond by adding this whole like open world that you can explore and just pick fights with people off the streets. Now we're talking about real Street Fighter here. So
Okay, that's cool.
I can go on and on about how great Street Fighter 6 is. If you're in the know, you're in the know. But Street Fighter 6, in my opinion, would have won Fighting Game of the Year if it didn't release the same year as Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah.
And here's my thing. I said it on our What You Playing episode with the Mortal Kombat section. I do have loyalty to Mortal Kombat. Back in the day, we're talking arcades, we're talking Super Nintendo, Genesis, that whole era. You were either Super Nintendo or Genesis. You were either Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. you were either
Mhm.
Sonic or Mario. Like it's in the same vein. I was team Mortal Kombat. I've played both games, and I would say confidently my pick for fighting game of the year, even with its faults, I would probably go ahead and give that to Mortal Kombat 1. I think
Dang.
deservingly.
There you go. Even and so like you've got me interested in this, even with that whole concept of like the open world aspect, because I do know this about I don't know a lot about fighting games, but I do know
Yeah.
this that like one of the big things that those series struggle with is having some type of cohesive narrative, having some type of story or just something that you can do by yourself where you don't have to go to that online play and you can have some sort of value from the game. So comparing those two, you know a lot more about it than I do. Like, you think that still Mortal Kombat is still crushing Street Fighter there?
I wouldn't say crushing. That would imply that Mortal Kombat is just like far and beyond the better of the two, and I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Because Mortal Kombat 1 has that sick story mode. And it really feels like you're playing a movie. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
You're in a movie, and then
That's
it's
pretty
like
cool.
when it's a fight scene, it's like, all right, time for me to play. This granted, the Street Fighter mode where you're like out on the street, and granted, I didn't play it. Admittedly, I didn't play it as long as I did Mortal Kombat 1,
Mhm.
so I may not have the most fair point of view in terms of the game compared to Mortal Kombat, but just the cinematics of Mortal Kombat 1 story mode beats out Street Fighter's open map, open gameplay that they have. But it's fun, and Street Fighter's great, and it's fantastic. And listen, if Street Fighter won fighting game of the year, to be 100% honest with you, I would be zero surprised. I'd be like, it's a toss up between the two.
Oh
But
wow.
for me, here in the
You're
studio,
invested. That
yeah,
is your game. Mortal
that
Kombat's your
yes,
series. So you definitely on an objective stance, you feel like it can win, but hey, still a close race.
yes,
So
yes.
only time will tell on that one. That's crazy though, dude. So one more thing, we've got to touch on this because this has happened actually since our what you're playing. The freaking $10 for a Halloween fatality.
God,
Come on. Do you think that's gonna hold them back at all? Like just
no.
having this type of like egregious behavior. I mean, I don't really know exactly will what's going to be the criteria to make something game of the year. Is it just how many votes it gets or what? But if it's votes, I feel like fans are not going to like that, and it's going to leave a bad taste in their mouth when they're thinking about, do I vote for Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
So I don't think it would affect. I don't personally think it would affect its chances for fighting game of the year. But God, that was one of my complaints in our What You
Yeah,
Playing episode. I said it. The microtransactions are predatory. The skins are overpriced, and this game could have been a 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 minimum. It got a 7 out of 10 for those microtransactions. So for my review score, those transactions really did affect it. But for its chances of fighting game of the year, I don't think it's as dire. Simply, and again, this is just me. Everybody has
for
their
sure, for
opinions
sure.
on which is better, and they're two very passionate camps.
Yeah.
But the Mortal Kombat visuals are phenomenal. You got a chance to play it not too long ago when you
Mhm.
visited my place and you got to play some Mortal Kombat. You saw how
Yeah,
beautiful those graphics are. The gameplay is sharp. It's precise. Not saying that Street Fighter 6's isn't, but gosh, it's they're so close. They're like between the two, it's hard to really choose. But Mortal Kombat has my heart, so I'm going with that.
for
And
sure.
they did try to quote unquote rectify. I don't know if you've heard this. It's pretty breaking. They tried to rectify this $10 fatality crap by giving 2 free fatalities for those who spent $10 for that Halloween fatality. I think it's a little bit too late. Like the damage is done. The only thing I can say for NetherRealm Studios, if you're listening, do better, guys. Seriously, like
Yeah.
we're talking about a day and age where everybody is so jaded with these microtransactions and these predatory
And the battle
practices
passes,
in
you
the
know,
God, I'm sick of battle passes, bro. Oh, I'm sick of them. Looking at you,
that getting
Fortnite.
mixed in.
Looking at you, Halo. Looking at you, Splitgate. Those are like the 3 shooters that I play with
Rocket
battle
League.
passes. Now we're talking Rocket League, and then we're talking Fall Guys, and it's too much, dude. It's too much. Gone are the
Yeah.
days Gone are the days of unlocking characters with pure grit.
Yeah, by actually just being good at the game.
But that's my
Yeah.
soapbox on fighting game of the year, man.
Man.
We'll see. It is a toss up. It's a close race. We'll see. But bro, I'm team Mortal Kombat. You know, I'm team finish him, and I'm hoping Mortal Kombat will finish the fight and go ahead and get fighting game of the year.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, you've got me on the edge of my seat about that one. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be really interesting to see which one comes out on top. But moving right along to our next one, we've got Family Game of the Year, and I mean, it goes without saying, the king of family games, Nintendo. We're both huge Nintendo fans, always have been. Even when
Absolutely.
Lewis was like super loyal to the Xbox camp, and I was super loyal to the PlayStation camp, our middle ground was always Nintendo.
Absolutely.
We always had the same consoles, right? So the thing that I've got to say here is Nintendo kind of came out of nowhere at the end of the year with Mario Wonder. I really think that it's going to steal Best Family Game of the Year, wouldn't you say?
Oh, dude, for sure. Admittedly, here at the studios, because of the stacked end of the year that we're having right now, we have not had a chance to play Mario Wonder.
Yeah, sadly.
We will play Mario Wonder, at least at the very least I will. I know for a fact that is a game on my list. I'm a family man, so if I can get some Mario games in the house, get my kids to play them, play with the wife, definitely on my list of games to play. With that being said, it doesn't take a video game aficionado. It doesn't take a
you don't need a degree in this crap.
Yeah, to see that this game looks freaking amazing.
Exactly. Or just to even know that throughout this entire year, who would even come close? I actually can't even come up with nominations for the category aside from Mario Wonder. I mean, it's hard to even think of what would even come close.
Yeah.
The game just nails that genre, and it has since the Mario series has been around. So even when they've come out with basically the same game for the past 4 iterations of Mario Brothers, this game was needed because the game series needed this revamp, but they haven't had a whole lot of push because there's not really much competition. So here we are, we finally get the revamp that all of the people that have played these games forever have wanted, and it's just going to blow everything out of the water.
I mean, based off the gameplay that I've gotten to see and the people I've talked to that's actually played the game, this game is basically the developers just got around in the basement, took a couple tablets of LSD, and just started to develop this game.
What if Mario was an elephant? Oh, what?
What if the pipes were sentient and started moving?
Oh my gosh, what if everyone just blew up like Violet from Willy Wonka?
So, bro, I'm about it. Listen, whatever it takes to produce a good game, you guys do it. I mean, that's what we do to produce a good show. So
I think they probably just like sat around and asked themselves, they're like, okay, what would be fun gameplay? Mario moves from here to here. Okay, now how's the most ridiculous way that we can make him do that? Be an elephant. Have flowers talk to him. Change the voice actor. You know, it's like everything.
$5 says Miyamoto was in an elephant costume for like a year to like get into character for this and try to figure out how to develop this game.
That's some dedicated method acting.
method directing. Jokes aside, man, this game, the game looks phenomenal. It honestly was one of my most anticipated games from the direct that we saw. What was that, like 2-3 months ago now?
Yeah.
When I saw Mario Wonder for the first time, it was like seeing the rebirth of the 2D Mario games.
Yeah, and simply with the change in animation that Mario has needed, coming out of the warp pipe, looking around, doing all of his different, like holding onto his hat, all these little small details are things that you would kind of come to expect, and it's appreciated by a lot of people. Those small details go a long way.
It's worth noting, man, and this is why Super Mario Wonder is such a big deal. The original new Super Mario game was released on May 7th, wait for it, 2006.
Holy crap. I didn't even realize that.
And we had this same vanilla type new Super Mario game all the way up until January 11th, 2019.
Jeez.
That was when they released New Super Mario U Deluxe. Talk about bad naming there, but that is a long time to have this no changes in the 2D platforming Super Mario games. It got dull, and
Yeah.
it's pretty bold of them to continue calling it New Super Mario Bros. Because it wasn't very new and it hadn't been for a long time. So to
Right.
see Super Mario Wonder go out and just take the biggest swing and hit it out of the park, I am like convinced they'll win Family Game of the Year, and it's probably going to be a lot of people's favorite game of the year for
Yeah,
those
I could
diehard
see that.
Mario fans.
Yeah, absolutely. No, for sure. Well, I definitely agree, bro. I think that's going to get Family Game of the Year for sure. But let's move right along into our next one. And we included this one for all you nerds out there who have been longtime fans of the series. We've got a strategy game nomination, and it also goes to Nintendo, a game that I have literally not even touched one of the entire series. As a matter of fact, the only thing I've come close to is playing the mobile game. But
Yeah.
anyway, Pikmin 4. That's got to be the one that wins the strategy game this year.
And let it be known that the reason we're talking about Sim Game of the Year is because we wanted to round this list out with 3 and not leave it with 2, and we're just like, oh yeah, the Sim game. Oh yeah, Pikmin 4 easily.
Here you go.
Here you go. Pikmin 4 is gonna win Sim Game of the Year. But jokes aside, listen, I know Pikmin 4. I know Pikmin series is very beloved. In our group of friends, and you know who our group of friends are. And our wives are considered our friends because we're very lonely people. But
Adulting's hard.
the only person in our group of friends that has ever played a Pikmin game is my wife. That's the only one. Nobody else in our friend group has played Pikmin.
Yeah,
And
we appreciate her venturing out into the unknown.
Yeah, and she's about it. She believes Pikmin 4 will win Game of the Year.
I'll
sorry,
admit,
not Game of the Year, Sim of the
No,
Year.
I got you. Sim Game of the Year. But I've always been intrigued by the series. I've always wanted to start, but I'm not gonna lie. By something that looks so cute and friendly, I've been intimidated at starting, and I don't know why.
Well, her biggest complaint because they released Pikmin 1 and 2 for the Switch. Then they have Pikmin 3 Deluxe, another deluxe game. Way to go, Nintendo. And then Pikmin 4. She's actually starting the series, and she says her biggest criticism, it has nothing to do with gameplay. It's that her Pikmin die and that they get eaten by these giant monsters. And Johnny Lay don't like it. She hates
the
it.
Circle of life.
I'm like, well, animals get eaten, and so do your Pikmin. So take care of them just a little better. But she does love the Pikmin series. She's the first one to venture out for it. So shout out to her, and shout out to Pikmin 4. I really do think they'll get Sim of the Year.
Yeah, they deserve it too. From what I've heard from people who have played, apparently it combines some of the aspects of the other games that people liked into one new conglomeration of fun. So that's what you really want from game studios, is for them to listen to their audience and find something that works for them without just giving them something super easy, right? Adding your own flair to it by actually giving them what they need in addition to what they're asking for.
Yeah, for sure. And Nintendo's really good at that. They're really good at not listening to their fans.
So it's nice when they do it.
Yeah, they're really good at that. So, but I would say more than any other company, Nintendo really is good at that. And I do mean that in a positive way, because sometimes we don't know what we want until we get it in front of us and we're like, yo, this slaps. This is really good. Like, thank you for bringing this up. But I keep calling it the Sim of the Year, but what's the actual category called again?
I think it's like simulation strategy.
Thank you, simulation strategy.
Some nerd out there is gonna tell us that Puzzles and Dragons is supposed to get it or something, but like, hey, whatever.
Puzzles and Dragons Simulator 2024.
All right, guys. But with that, we're gonna move into the Big Mac Daddy Piece de Resistance Game of the Year nominees. So starting off our nominations for Game of the Year, we are going to be going in order of some of the ones that we think are going to be nominations for Game of the Year, but we don't really know if they would win their own genre category.
Yeah.
So starting off with that, we want to talk about Hogwarts Legacy. So this game was highly anticipated. It was in development hell for a long time. It was announced a while ago, and it finally came out. and it deserves to be mentioned here. Just being in the Harry Potter and Hogwarts universe, you already have a huge following. You have so
Absolutely.
many people that were anticipating this game, and it really didn't disappoint in so many ways. It got right a lot of lore, and I think I mentioned this in our What You Playing episode, but you get a lot of really cool callbacks to some of the series with the people who were related to Tom Riddle and all these other cool aspects. So if you
And
are
that
a
opening,
huge fan, oh
that
my
open,
god,
it's like we said, November 10th, 2023, and I'm still thinking about this opening of a game I've never played. So
dude, I mean, if you haven't played the game and you don't plan on playing the game, like pause this episode, come back and listen to the rest. But pause this episode, go watch that opening because it's insane. Honestly, I think if you were on the fence about playing this game, go watch that opening, and I think it'll convince you to play the game. It's so good. I can't believe how much it just captivated me. And like I said, games that I have anticipated playing for myself, I've looked forward to games much more than this one, and this game's opening captivated me so much more than any game I can recall. So, gotta give it kudos for that. As far as the actual gameplay, the combat, I was really worried how they were going to integrate so many different spells, because that's a huge part about the Harry Potter universe, Hogwarts universe, however you want to call it, is having all these different spells. Hermione is just like, you can just, your mind gets boggled by all the things that she knows how to do, and you wonder, how am I going to be able to play this, right?
yeah, for sure.
So I really appreciated you basically had like 4 different commands to you could lock in, and it was very intuitive. You just can assign spells at any given time. You get more quick presets that you can lock in, and it basically gives you quick access to like 16 spells at a time.
Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense too. And I think for me, like when I'm thinking about what would be considered a game of the year, and you and I talked about this off recording before, when I think about game of the year, I'm like, how are studios pushing gameplay to the next limit? What am I going to be able to do in this game, a one-off Harry Potter game, that maybe another studio that makes like a Zelda game or any other game is going to be able to incorporate? When you have a game of the year like Breath of the Wild before, they influenced every open world game because everything
Yeah.
they introduced was so huge. So when I see little things like this, that's when I'm like, this needs to be mentioned for a possible game of the year.
Oh no, absolutely agree 100%. So yes, we did talk about off recording, of course, what game of the year means to us, and I would even go a little bit more simple on my end. And I remember saying that to you, like I think it's 3 things that a game needs to have for game of the year quality. 1, hype. The hype before,
Right.
the hype is so important. I feel like the hype is what brings the fans. The hype is what brings the community together. So hype is number 1. 2, it needs to be good. Like simple,
Yeah.
point blank.
And actually playable.
It needs to be good. It needs
Sad
to
that we
be,
have to say that.
yeah, but it seriously, like, it needs to be fun. It needs to be good. You need to love this. Like, there needs to be a reason. You know what? To put it in a sentence, number 2, the hype needs to pay off in some capacity to a certain amount of people. Like,
Right.
you can't please everybody, you can't please the masses, but you need to have a good chunk of your player base that is satisfied with their hype levels being met.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then number 3 is lasting impact, at least for me.
Yeah.
After you beat the game, or after either you beat the game and you're super happy and you're just so glad that you got to experience this game, or you're going to be playing this game for years to come.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I did not get to play Hogwarts Legacy. I got secondhand from you,
Yeah.
and I trust every word you say about video games that you play. Hogwarts is, I believe, more than deserving of being on this list, and I have eyes. Like we said about Mario Wonder, I've seen the gameplay, especially in prepping for our What You Playing episode. I wanted to see what you were playing, and I wanted to see what you were talking about. So a simple trip to YouTube, and I got a good grasp of how great this game actually does look, and how the action sequences are like spot
Oh
on.
yeah. Listen, you can dodge roll in this
Oh,
game, so
yeah.
you know it's good.
Yes, give me the dodge roll. Never take away the dodge roll.
And actually, what makes it even better, because they are keeping it true to the fandom, is one of the big skill tree improvements to your dodge roll is you can apparate, actually. So
Whoa, I actually didn't know that.
yeah, you know how like the characters in the movies, they'll like turn into that puff of smoke
Yes.
and travel around. You can
Yes.
actually apparate. You turn into this like almost like Sonic the Hedgehog like type of wheel, and you can direct it away. It's actually kind of OP in terms of dodging. So it's a really cool mechanism they added in. Like I said, just taking gameplay that you're used to and adding that flair to it. That's what you want. That's what you want to see when you are thinking about, could this be a game of the year? And so with that said, I do think this studio did a fantastic job with incorporating a lot from the ground up and trying their best to please all the masses. I think that they came pretty damn close.
Yes, I agree. And again, shout out to Avalanche. You've come a long way from Sub-Zero mythologies. Good on you. Good on you.
So yes, I think that this one will be nominated for RPG as well. I don't think it's going to win, and we'll get to why later. But moving into another RPG and another Game of the Year nomination, we have Starfield. Yes, sir.
So Starfield, I would say this is probably one of the more divisive games that we have on our list here.
Yes.
You either love this game or you don't like it very much. Here at the studio, we found a whole plethora of reasons why this game belongs on this list. The hype, unreal. This game,
Yes.
the hype that followed Starfield up until the day it released on Game Pass and stores was substantial. I hadn't seen hypes of that level in, gosh, I can't remember, because the hype was either people were waiting for it to fail or waiting for it to succeed. Regardless of which, the hype was there. The game is massive game. It's damn near impossible. I don't know how you could possibly explore every
inch
single
of it.
every inch of it. And as somebody that plays Bethesda games like that, which I want to explore every possible nook and cranny, I don't know when I'll ever be able to do something like that for Starfield. So the game is massive, it's beautiful, and we are all but done. You finished the main story. I'm all but done with the main story for Starfield, and we'll get more on this when our final thoughts on this on Starfield come out. But I'm all but done, and I am very pleased with what I've seen in terms of story and lore. This game is rich in lore, almost to an overwhelming amount. Like there's so much.
Easily. Yeah, and so touching on my focus on a game of the year, there is no denying that Starfield has come out with boundary pushing technology and just constantly showing new ways that a game can be played. And without giving anything away, this has already been hinted before the game was even released. We can confirm here at Lobby Up, the game is like no other when it comes to New Game Plus. There has never been a game like this game in terms of New Game Plus. I can confirm that. So if that's your cup of tea, you're going to basically, the value that you're going to achieve from this game is virtually limitless. Actually, yes. You're going to find so much from this game. And that's just talking about some of the more technical aspects about the gameplay, but the interactions that you have with different characters, I know that people love to shit on Bethesda's character models and animations and whatnot, but I gotta say I was impressed. I didn't experience any of the glitches that I saw circulating. I didn't experience any of like the weirdness with the characters. I thought it was beautiful, and I thought it was actually pretty astounding that we're already able to achieve things like this. So I'm going to give props to them for that.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Everybody was talking crap about their faces, and it also helps that I've played every Bethesda game. So like, to me, it's always an improvement from the last game in terms of facial animations and even glitches. Because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't get too many glitches in Starfield, and I kind of missed my Bethesda glitches. Like I like the wackiness and the goofiness behind it. But that being said, Starfield to up until now, which I'm on the precipice of beating this game. It's been a smooth, fun, incredibly enjoyable experience that even after we're done with our final thoughts on Starfield, this is a game that I will be playing for a very long time.
For sure.
It's going to be the game that I go to um just to go around and screw around. It's like when I want to get lost in space for a couple hours after reviewing these future titles that are we're going to be presenting to everybody. I feel like Starfield will be a nice escape. And that checks off my box as a game that's going to have a lasting impact. For some people, they're going to beat the game and it'll be done for them, and that's great. And for others like me, it's a game that's going to be ready to play at any given time for the foreseeable future. So I think on that note, Starfield more than deserves to be nominated as Game of the Year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it speaks volumes. Even just like, obviously, if you know the premise of Starfield, you know that there's the context of it is that there's multiple worlds that you're visiting. But from the outside looking in, this is an entire world that these developers have created. This is an entire universe
Yeah,
that these
it's
developers
massive.
have created. Yeah. So, like you said, being able to come back to this game, even after you've beaten the main storyline, or even after this year is over and new games come out, it's a whole universe. It's almost like MMO size.
Yeah.
And so, it's easy to be able to conceive that you could come back to this game for years. So, absolutely, my man. So, with that, moving right along, I do think that this game will be nominated as well for Starfield will be nominated for Best RPG. It won't win, and we'll get to why soon enough. But moving on into our next game, Spider-Man 2. You know that we couldn't make a list without talking about everybody's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, we've discussed this before, especially we just had a Spider-Man episode just come out, and we've talked about the games leading up to this being Marvel Spider-Man and the Miles Morales kind of like sub-sequel.
Yes.
And so we've discussed that Spider-Man is our favorite superhero, so naturally we have our biases here. But I mean, you have also been from an objective, critical standpoint talking about the Arkham series, so you're able to add like a whole new side of things to this. But I would say that this game, we've admittedly we've been stuck with a lot of big games, but we have gotten about halfway through this one, and I think that it started off in its own right, adding a lot to the series, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, so listen, guys, we can't go too deep into Spider-Man 2. We have an episode in the works, so if you want our real, absolute, unfiltered opinions, stay tuned to Lobby
Gotta
Up.
keep listening. Subscribe, like, and comment.
Please, no, seriously, please.
Yeah, please like it and subscribe and make another account and subscribe. Anyway, but we've honestly, dude, like I think that the opening sequence, without giving too much away, is exactly what you want from an action adventure game. You start off with this awesome opening fight. Again, without giving too much away, you start off with an awesome opening fight, and you're now controlling two Spider-Man.
Yes.
Adding that whole aspect to the game was huge. You had all this side story with Miles Morales, and it's like, where do you go from here? I think that they incorporated that brilliantly.
Yes, and it's a very natural flow of controlling two Spider-Man. They put a lot of thought and a lot of soul into this game. I believe that it also, just like the previous games, and I know I'm saying this again, but the check marks are there, man. The hype is great, the gameplay is great, and the lasting impression of this game so far is going to be fantastic. I think Spider-Man 2 is more than deserving of being on this list as another milestone for superhero games and gaming as a whole. Insomniac really is just knocking it out of the park one after another with these Spider-Man games. It should be in the at the very least nominated for Game of the Year. In a year filled with just banger after banger, man. 2023, for better or for worse, is just filled with so many good games to play, man. So
exhausting year for
Yeah,
how amazing all
seriously.
the games have been. But
seriously,
this actually added quite and again, my focus of what is a game adding to the realm of gaming. I really appreciated that they expanded the amount of New York that you can explore. And my immediate thought with that was like, okay, but where are the skyscrapers? How are we going to get our Spidey swinging through the city? And bro, adding those web wings, which is something that's true to the core of the
Yes.
fandom, right? Adding that in was, again, just flawless, perfect. I really, really appreciated it. I was wondering how it was going to make sense. Like, are you going to be able to, like, you know, get some ascending like height and then like flow back down? But like the wind tunnels, that was just the perfect idea. I loved it. So like I really appreciated that they could add something in to be creative to how they're going to have you travel. Because I mean, the swinging, it's already been nailed down, right?
Yeah.
Tried and true. Marvel Spider-Man, if you guys don't know how much we love the swinging, go listen to our Marvel Spider-Man episode. We just adore it, okay? This game just kept that going. And with the addition of the web wings, it was perfect. It was so much fun.
The momentum is there, man. Since the momentum was set with Marvel Spider-Man in 2018, and
Right.
it's continued, and it makes me excited for the future of Insomniac-based superhero video games.
Yeah, there's all
This,
those rumors about Wolverine, so
yeah, I mean, it's exciting, man, and I'm excited for the DLC that's planned for Spider-Man 2. I'm there. I'm sold, just so that I can get more time in this Miles Morales Peter Parker universe, like where
yeah.
they're together working hand in hand, man.
If I can just see more of Black Cat, I'll be happy.
Oh yes. Please, you know what? Let me just play as Black Cat for 25 hours, please. Thank you.
So yeah, so it's, we'll see if it's gonna come out with some new side missions or what's gonna be coming up next, but I'm excited for it too. This will, mark my words, this will get nominated for best action adventure game. I don't think it's going to win, because another action adventure game that came out this year, which will get nominated for game of the year, and I think, and I know you think, will win best action adventure game of the year, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna get flack from some people and praise from others. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is probably the best in the series.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, some people love their old school Zelda. I am a hardcore Zelda fan. I have been playing Legend of Zelda my entire life. My
It's your
daughter's-
favorite series, isn't it?
Yes, it's my favorite series. My daughter's middle name is Zelda. I love Zelda so much. It is a fantastic game series. But what they've done with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom was a much needed refresh and new direction for the series that will keep this game going for years to come.
Yes.
I couldn't imagine another decade, another 2 decades of what we've been having with traditional 3D Zeldas.
Yeah.
With that being said, Tears of the Kingdom was so great, so astronomically, like I might be overhyping it, but I love this game so much. For the longest time, I thought it would be the absolute winner, uncontested, for Game of the Year.
Yep.
Another reason why this is the second to last game on our list. The reason it's also here is because both of us, for the longest time, were convinced that this would win Game of the Year.
Yep. No, absolutely, dude. It's still the game that I played the most this year. I really didn't expect to drop as many hours as I did, but then I got to like the 100 mark and I was like, I'm not even close to being done with this game. and I just knew. I was like, man. And it really harkens back to like what you were saying, like lasting impact, right? Like
Yes.
we kept playing this game for so long, and there are things that I still want out of the game, and even with the amount of time that I spent, there's still so much content in the game that I didn't even get to. And I just think that that speaks enough for itself. If it's that fun, you know that you found the right game. You found a game that's going to be a hard competitor for Game of the Year, because regardless of what Game of the Year means to you or what your criteria is, if a game keeps you playing, that's what the whole point of this is. We're all doing this, whether it's for, you know, content creation or whether you're just a casual gamer. You're doing this because you love games. And so when it comes to a game that just keeps you that captivated and holds your attention, it's going to get at least nominated.
Listen, by the time that I closed the book on Tears of the Kingdom and said, you know what, I am good, I am done. Like I have exactly, and you, if you have me as a friend on Switch, you can fact check me. I have exactly 200 hours on this game. To base, I swear it's to the minute. I have exactly 200 hours,
That's
and I
crazy, dude.
swear I closed this imaginary book that is Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I closed it, and then a single tear just came down my eye, and I
Tears of the
said,
Lewis.
I looked at my daughters dead in the eyes and said, that was the greatest game I've ever played in my entire life.
And, you know, again, touching on what my big focus is for Game of the Year, like you said, in your opinion, a reason why this game is so great is because they changed a lot of the core mechanics of the gameplay. And in my opinion, if it works, then that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm not one of those types of people that says, okay, you know, we have another 3D Zelda game. I better get 7 dungeons and it better be, you know, in linear pathway. Like
Yes.
that's not what I'm looking for. In any type of game series, I'm going in with an open mind saying, okay, the studio wants to play it this way. I'm going to see what type of value, what type of content I'm going to get out of this game. And in my opinion, I think that this was perfect. I couldn't have when we started anticipating this game, we started talking about like I want these types of things, but I don't know what they're going to give me that I didn't know I wanted, you know.
Well, and that goes back to Nintendo really being good at that. It's like,
Yeah.
you're gonna get this game and you're gonna like it. Like, and you have no choice, and we don't listen to you guys. And I'm okay with that sometimes. Really,
Yeah.
I am. That's how you get these bangers of the games. Like, listen, can we talk? Like, we're talking about hype cycles as part of our criteria. That Tears of the Kingdom
Oh my god.
trailer that came out right
The
before the future, like cue the saxophone. Jesus, that was the greatest, bar none. Fight me, fight me. That was the greatest gaming trailer I had ever witnessed in my entire life. Only second, the only second place to this game is the Everybody's Here trailer for Smash Bros.
Oh.
Ultimate. But Tears of the Kingdom's trailer, I have never in my life been so hyped for a game. And let me tell you, I wasn't that hyped prior to that trailer. I really wasn't. I was like, Tears of the Kingdom is coming out in a couple months. You know, like, I'm excited, but dude, for Breath of the Wild, I was a little bit more excited. And Nintendo said, hold my beer, and just drop this a banger of a trailer that I have probably watched, I kid you not, at least 100 times. It's one of the greatest trailers ever made.
So you bring up a really good point with the music. I kind of forgot about this, but like I think that Zelda in its own right in this cycle of Game of the Year awards could definitely take the best composition.
Probably if they went solely off the music that was in that trailer, heck yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had chills over and over, like eyes watering up. Listen, our actual, like, we have a clear winner for Game of the Year, but you would think the way I'm talking about Tears of the Kingdom, who we actually think would win, but that's just a testament to how stacked this year was in terms of games.
Yeah, no, absolutely, my man. I think it definitely will win Best Action Adventure Game. And I think it still will, in its own right, be heavy competition for what we think is still going to win Game of the Year. But with that said, the Lobby Up Game of the Year winner is
Baldur's Gate 3.
And let me just say, this is a game that here at the studio, between Lewis and I, we have accumulated a grand total of gameplay for this game of 0 minutes and 0 hours.
So much effort.
We have not played this game. Let me just say that should go to tell you how huge of a game this is. Like we said in Zelda, that was our pick for the year. We really didn't see this game even coming out of left field to take this spot. We knew that it was an anticipated game in its own right, but had no idea that it was going to be this huge. Had no idea that it was going to have this level of reception. That being said, man, it's a crazy game.
Yes, for sure. Listen, I have no shame to say that we didn't play this game yet. It is a game I can see us playing a little bit down the line once it kind of settles here in the studio with all these games coming out.
Yeah.
But Baldur's Gate 3, it would be irresponsible of us as being in the gaming community, being two guys that are this is our passion, this is what we love. Video games is what we do. It
Right.
would be irresponsible for us not even like to at least not have it on the list, let alone
Right.
have not having it the winner. I
Yeah.
believe that it is I believe it's a runaway, in my opinion. I believe Baldur's Gate 3 will have the same levels of success as Elden Ring did.
Oh yeah, I think so
It
too.
so with that being said, at the time of recording, as we were recording this, like on our break in between recording, the Joystick Awards it has just now wrapped up, and Baldur's Gate 3 was a runaway during
Yeah.
the Joystick Awards, and they
Landslide.
won the Ultimate Game of the Year for the Joystick Awards. So I think it's just a universal consensus that Baldur's Gate 3 just smashed it out of the park.
Well, when you take the idea, one of the ultimate nerd games in existence across the board, games, not video games, but games in general, being Dungeons and Dragons, right? And you take the premise of that, being able to create your own story with your own person and this huge universe of multiple different monsters and all these different fighting styles and doing whatever you want, and putting that into a video game and making it take that form. Really, honestly, I feel like more gamers, more studios, more companies should have expected this to happen. Looking through the history of this game, it didn't get a true official sequel for like 20 years,
which is insane, especially
is.
in this era where like games are getting sequels within 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing was, you had a lot of expansions, you had a lot of, remakes and remasters of the first and second Baldur's Gate. But the second Baldur's Gate came out a couple years after the first. The thing that I'm seeing that the community loved so much is that they did away with one of the old versions of the rule set for Dungeons and Dragons. And Lewis and I, full disclosure, we've done a campaign together, not a full one, but we have very little Dungeons and Dragons experience.
Yes.
But I can say that we've played in some of the newer formats, and it was very fun. I had a really great time with it. I can see how if it was too complicated of a play style in the past, how that could affect the gameplay in the transition to a video game. They kept it true, apparently, to the most recent rendition. So I think that a lot of people really appreciated that.
For sure. And you take all of that, you take this already massive package of condensing Dungeons and Dragons into a video game. Now you add this other package that is the beauty of this game. This game looks fantastic. The visuals are stunning, graphics are great, the frame rate is on point, and these characters are mocapped, and they did just such a wonderful job bringing these characters to life with love and personality.
Yeah, the whole thing is fully voice acted. We have in our notes here that there was a total of approximately 1.5 million words of performance captured. So this was a huge undertaking. They wanted to give players the ability to experience such a huge narrative in their own way. And one thing I thought was really cool is you have the surgeons of Stranger Things, right?
Yeah.
And for the middle 2 seasons that are currently out, one of the big monsters is the Mind Flayer. And the Mind Flayer in the Stranger Things world, what the kids are calling it, the Mind Flayer anyway, they do show like an official D&D book in the series of what a Mind Flayer is supposed to look like in the games. But they call this huge smoke monster a Mind Flayer because it has similar powers. One of the teaser trailers for Baldur's Gate shows a guy like horrifically turning into a Mind Flayer, and it's like this Cthulhu looking face like monster, and just like floats up in the air. Like I got chills talking about it because it's just like so cool. They're like, "Oh yeah, you guys wanna show off a mind flayer in Stranger Things? Let me show you what it really looks like." And
Yeah.
they just took that and ran with it. It was
They
so
said
cool.
they said let the big boys play.
That's right, man. So it was really cool to see that come to the screen because it's almost like they're trying to bridge a lot of these people into Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Which
So
is
I really
it's
appreciate that.
awesome. It's amazing for the gaming, the nerd, the whatever you want to call it culture. It's good. There's a lot of divisive opinions about like, oh, now it's mainstream. Oh no, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that. I really am. The more people
Yeah.
that are interested in a game, the more people that are interested into tabletop RPGs, that's more time and dedication that these companies are going to put in for of
Yeah.
course profit, you know, that's
Right.
profit's all fine and dandy, but that's more people playing. And that, I want to say, what, 20 years ago it was so hard to find any sort of anime memorabilia and all these gaming memorabilia, and now that it's more mainstream in 2023, you can walk into Walmart and come out with Pikachu Squishmallow. Well, granted,
Oh yeah.
Pokemon was always popular, but you can get a lot of niche cool IPs just like off a Walmart shelf. I love this, you know, bring
Yeah.
D&D to the masses. Have grandma playing Dungeons and Dragons, have your aunt playing Baldur's Gate 3. Bring on the people, bring on the love, the more the merrier.
Absolutely. And that's, like you're hitting such a good note, man, because like the thing is, that's what you want to see. You love to see it, right?
Yeah.
Having something that you love being brought to people that you wouldn't expect to be playing it and appreciate it, and those people having their preconceived notions shattered, right? I freaking love that gaming in general is becoming mainstream. Love it. I love that the nerds are cool now. We're taking back the world. Fuck you, jocks. We got this. You go watch your sports ball and we'll play Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll play sports ball on our Wii.
That's right. So, absolutely think that this game is going to crush Game of the Year. It's definitely going to be taking Best RPG, hands down. I really have no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
And just as a little bonus for all of you listening, one of the categories is most anticipated game. So Lewis, what's your most anticipated game?
My most anticipated game for 2024 is definitely Avowed. I'm so excited for Avowed, man.
Yes.
I've been a fan of Obsidian's work forever, and of course, everybody loves Fallout New Vegas. So now we're
For
getting
sure.
Obsidian's take on Skyrim. That is what it's being labeled as. That is the anticipation we're having for this game. And let it be known, my favorite Bethesda game, and honestly one of my favorite top 5 games, honestly, of all time. Dude, I love Skyrim so much. I love that game. I've sank god awful amount of time in that game. I would be embarrassed to find out how much time I've spent in Skyrim.
Would you really though?
No, I think I'd be a little bit more impressed than anything, but I love
Badge
that
of
game
honor.
so much. So to get Obsidian's take on that genre of game, that fantasy game, the swords, the arrows, the magic, bring it all in, because I know Obsidian's track record is always chef kiss. They always just do well with the IPs. They did amazing for Outer Worlds. So there's no reason in my mind to think that Avowed won't be anything less than just phenomenal. So I'm
Heck yeah,
still
man.
hyped. So hyped.
Heck yeah.
What about you, bro?
That's
What's
awesome.
your most
Well,
anticipated game?
I've never played Final Fantasy VII, so I do like the idea of Final Fantasy, 7 Rebirth. That's gonna be great. But I'll be honest with you, dude. Donkey's got me hyped for Animal Well. I really am gonna be excited to play this game. It's the first game that his company is, and just shout out to him and Big Mode. They're gonna be publishing this game. That's really, really cool. But it looks awesome. It looks fun, and it looks exactly like the type of game. I mean, just talking about Ori and all of those side scrollers. This looks like it's gonna be just a beautiful indie version of an indie game, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be super fun. It looks beautiful. I'm hyped for it. So my list is pretty short for now, but we'll see what comes out, man.
I mean, I don't want to bog down. I actually am hyped about a whole bunch of games. I wouldn't want to bog down the rest of the little time we have left with all my lists. But I will say, if it is worth mentioning, and I think both you and I are excited for this game. If it comes out in 2024, which we really doubt, but if it, rumor has it, we'll see. We are excited for the next iteration of Grand Theft Auto, and if it comes out late 2024, that would be a pipe dream, but we'll see.
Yeah, right along the release of the Switch 2.
Yeah, 2025. The Switch 2 will be released in 2025, and you will owe me $1.
So with that, it's safe to say 2023 was a huge year for gaming. And while Game of the Year may mean different things to everyone, here at Lobby Up, we view it as a celebration of gaming. Whether this was just the game you had the most fun playing, or if it pushed a new technical boundary, the Game of the Year means something different for everyone. So please, everyone, drop in the comments your favorite game this year and what you think about when you consider something Game of the Year. And just as always, thanks for lobbying up with us.
See ya.